Yo, this is Mega Ran, teacher, rapper, hero, Writers Guild representative, and you are listening to the Back of the Class podcast. If there's one thing that a teacher knows, it's all about being at the back of the class? No, that's not right at all. But anyway, this podcast is amazing, and you're listening to it, so you're smart. Go to the back of the class.
Shout out to Mega Ran for that awesome drop.
Yes.
You are now tuned in to the Back of the Class podcast. We are your hosts. I am the Esteban Serrano.
Juan, Cadavid.
Zach Dionne, hey.
Juan, you could not sound any less interested.
You sound feeble over there.
Come on.
I don't know what feeble means. Is that good or bad?
Obviously, it's not complimentary.
Like a 90-year-old, basically.
I don't know. What do you
Frail.
I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway,
You want me to go, oh,
You weren't-
hey.
you weren't sounding very feeble on this Mega Ran podcast,
I was not.
and you blew up. So
Yeah,
tell us
my-
about the podcast real
I get
quick
like
one time.
40 followers. It was Mega Ran's Matt Mania podcast where we talked about, man, what didn't we talk about? We talked about wrestling, video games soundtracks, rap, and hip hop. Mostly wrestling, though, because the name of the podcast is Matt Mania. We did it at PAX East 2 weeks ago. But, yeah, man, I had a ball. It was fucking awesome to talk to somebody for an hour about the same shit we both love. So if you haven't checked it out yet, definitely give it a gander at Matt Mania on iTunes.
Cool.
And,
Nice.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah. So we got an awesome podcast, too. It's called Back of the Class. It's this episode 13.
Ooh, lucky
my
13.
And today, yeah, man, we're going to talk all about, of course, Drake's Views. It is out. It is upon us. And we have some interesting things to talk about as it pertains to that. We also have to talk about Game of Thrones.
Oh, we definitely do.
Spoiler heavy. If you haven't seen it, there's only 2 episodes in this season.
About it, tell me.
We got to talk about Space Jam 2.
Yeah, we do.
Ugh.
They're not reinventing it. They're not recreating it. It is the sequel. So it's a whole new storyline, and we're going to talk about that. And, of course, Captain America Civil Wars comes out tomorrow.
Civil War. There's only one.
No, there's going to be a lot of wars.
Civil War.
Well,
There's
no,
a
you're
war
right,
going
'cause
on
there's
outside.
Civil
No man
War,
is safe from.
There's the Infinity War. So.
Come on, baby. I know my nerd stuff.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. It's
Civil War
wars on
and then
wars on
Infinity
wars.
War?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. Hits theaters tomorrow.
All right.
And, of course, you know, what we're listening to over the weekend.
Yep.
But before we go any further, rest in peace to Afeni Shakur,
Man.
Tupac's beautiful mother. Has passed away at 69 years of age.
Young 69 too. 'Cause she looked.
Young 69. She looked great.
Yeah, she looked great.
She lived a full, amazing life and gave us one of the most important icons in music history.
And was a very important person herself, even before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. She had her own contributions to our quality of life here in the States. So we just had to, you know, tip our hats to her and just give her a rest in peace shout out before
Word.
we move any further.
Yeah, hard year. We've talked about so many people dying.
Yeah,
It's
man.
been crazy, dude.
It does feel like every episode we could have one of these at the top. Thank God we haven't,
Yeah, but a lot.
but there's been a lot. Drake, Views from the 6.
Views from nothing. Views.
This is gonna.
We
be,
know it's Views from the 6. Come on.
This is gonna be just basically Zach talking for a couple of minutes of how much.
No,
he
it's
loves
not.
Drake.
I have a lot of things to ask and inquire and speak on. But let's go around first, and let's start off with Zach. Initial thoughts.
So I was up Thursday night to like write about this album and cover it, and I have never loved a Drake album from the beginning. And I'm not gonna say like over the moon loved for this, but yeah,
Right.
I like this album a lot from the beginning more than I don't love it more than the Drake albums that I love, but
Right.
it didn't. There was like all the others had to grow on me, various degrees. But I did that thing that you hate to do, Esteban, which is like make yourself keep listening till you kind of get it, till you fall in love with it. And this
Right.
one, I was just like, I'm good with this from the beginning.
Cool.
Juan? Cool. Well, that says it all. Juan, how you feeling?
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it.
It made you think of shampoo. If I'm not wrong.
I was expecting, because we talked about it last week. Like, you're expecting a level of, the word is softness, because it's so, that's just the word that comes to mind.
Yeah, that's synonymous
And
with Drake.
like the analogy I used to tell Zach, I was expecting a little, Pert Plus, Head and Shoulders action, and we got just straight up Johnson and Johnson or
Garnier
Fructis, like just like the softest of the soft.
Herbal essences.
I was listening to it. I was like, all right, that's one of those singing records. Next one. Oh, okay, another one I was singing. All right, next one. He's rapping. Oh, he's singing again.
Takes till track 5 till the
And-
song hype for it to get hype.
Right.
And I felt like the production was a little kind of, in my opinion, I just thought it was a little
bored.
it was a little boring, a little repetitive. Like the bass lines was just, it was almost like 40 got like a new shipment of like bass lines and shit, and he just went to town using the same ones because to me it just felt repetitive. But having said it, there were some lines I really dug in the thing.
Right.
There are some catchy songs in there, can't deny it. But for me, I was just like, all right, this is a little softer than I expected, but not the worst thing in the world.
Word.
Are you done with it
Um,
for a while?
no, I might take another sweep
Right.
through it because like we were
Another sleep?
we were in Memphis and like we were exhausted after every day at that festival in Beale Street.
Didn't really
So
have
like
time to sit.
yeah,
with it.
I was like listening to it like on downtime, not really concentrating.
Right.
And also while I was listening to it, I was like watching what everyone was saying and their
Yeah.
opinions, and I was like agreeing, disagreeing.
Right.
But yeah, I owe it another listen. But yeah, I just it was just a lot more singing and softness than I expected.
All right. I expected it. I told you guys.
Yeah,
Right.
you, yeah, you
Melodic
did.
coming.
You called it.
You
Esteban.
absolutely did. Zach, you kind of said it earlier. I don't like to give albums not a fair shake, but like you need to impress me initially if I'm going to invest. And I don't really let like social commentary dictate whether or not I need to be listening closer.
Right.
Or feel like I missed it. I feel like my hip hop and just music IQ in general is pretty good enough that I can get things the first time.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, with an artist like Drake, who I know spends a lot of time, putting into his music, and knowing the history of this album and how anticipated it's been for 2 years and how he went back to Toronto and him and 40 were together, like this is like a real... to me, it's more of a conceptual album for Drake. Like the other albums have been albums, but this one for him is like, we know his views from the 6. We know he really is embracing his hometown of Toronto. Now, this is a kid who's been
He always has, though,
all
no?
over the
He's always
world. But
been-
no, this time he wanted to make an album that reflected his views
Yeah, and the
of
seasons,
Toronto.
he said.
And the seasons of Toronto in terms of the winter, the summer, things of that nature. Now, for a kid who's been all over the world to go back home and want to own that, to me, speaks, volumes. Like, I'm from Philly. I live in New York for a long time. I've been all around the world. And what that did for me was it made me appreciate my hometown, but it didn't make me feel like it was the greatest place on earth.
See, I didn't get any of that.
Because you really didn't sit with it long enough, I think.
My thing,
And that's what it was.
it's just I laughed before because everyone, I've never been to Toronto, so I don't judge. I always say I don't judge if I haven't experienced
Right.
it firsthand. But everyone I know who's been in Toronto, and I ask them how was Toronto, everybody's like, meh.
Yeah.
Right.
Like people like that's the consensus. Like it's just there's nothing. It's not horrible, but there's nothing special, and
Right.
there's nothing that stands out. So for him trying to like do that, it's just funny to me that because you're trying to, it's such a vanilla city from what I've heard that when you said like he's put on for a city and the
Right.
seasons and all, I'm just like that's why I laugh because
Right.
the city doesn't have it's not New York, it's not
Exactly.
Philly, it's not
So that has to be special in some sense. And that's kind of another thing, like, you mentioned it. Like, it's not New York, it's not LA, it's not Miami, it's not these cities that we kind of attribute. It's not Paris, it's not London.
it's not
these
Maine where Zach is
huge,
from,
that's definitely not a city.
even though it's a state.
But You know what I mean? So like that,
not
even
Oakland,
that,
Maine.
that underground feel, that undertone of like that whole like this is my place, is where I'm from. Like you said, a lot of people haven't really been to Toronto, so I'm very and that was another thing. Like growing up in Philly, being very like not sheltered, but a lot of I grew up in the crack era. It wasn't really allowed out of the crib much. It was very dangerous, you know,
Not a lot
in my
of lunch
neighborhood.
release.
No lunch release for your boy,
Lunch
whatsoever. But like you know, hip hop was a passport for me to go other places.
Yeah.
Like I felt like when I listened to NWA, I knew what Compton was like. When I listened to Wu-Tang, I got a feel for what Shaolin was like. When I listened to, you know, the Dungeon Family and Outkast, I knew what Atlanta sounded like. It felt like I got to like kind of visualize what these places were like because I never went.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to feel that again. You know what I mean? Like, what's great about this album it is that it is an event of a release, which is things that you and I have grown up listening to and experiencing. The hunt for the album, going to buy it at a store, sitting down, listening to it, shutting everything down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just this disposable thing. This is views. This is something we've been waiting for. This is Drake. This is the top of his game, and this is what he wants to convey right now. So I felt like it deserved more of a sit down. So I've been sitting down with it, listening, and I appreciate it. I mean, I don't like every record, but I can sit down and listen to this album front to back.
Yeah, me too, definitely. I've listened to it on repeat a couple times all the way through. But that makes me think about a lot of people. First of all, I again called it. People were gonna rip Drake apart no matter what happened here.
Of course.
Yeah.
It was just the time. And one of the big criticisms is that he didn't evolve lyrically.
Yep. he didn't.
And I mean, first of all, like, who fucking cares? Like, that's not what I really listen to Drake for, or what I'm expecting.
But let's be
you know?
clear. Like, Drake
But-
is one lyrically at the top. Like, lyrically can rap his butt off. Lyrically can write
Yeah.
his butt
But
off.
that's the
so
thing, that's the-
what's the next level of evolution of that anyway? Just like, you know,
Yeah.
keep that in mind. as
So
you
yeah, but
continue.
what I was gonna say is he said I made a career off reminiscing on this album, and to be at home, making it at home, and in this place where it's fitting because he's always thinking of his ex-girlfriends. He's always thinking of his childhood. He's always thinking of the struggle that he's had to be taken seriously. And yeah, if you don't like that, like, or if you've had enough of it,
Right.
like, it's fair game for you to not like this album or to be
100%,
bored by it.
100%.
But I do think it's interesting to like bring yourself back to your home when you're 29 years old,
Right.
and the ways that it can like hold you back, what it makes you continue, like this shit that just keeps turning over in your mind over and over because you're back in that same place, and you know you can come back to it with some growth and some new perspective, but you can
Right.
also just get stuck. And I think it's interesting. I mean,
And
it
you
doesn't bore me.
For him, you know, like he says in that Zane Lowe interview, which is a great interview, but he
65
says
minutes.
it there. He's like, you know, I could have recorded this in L.A. where it's warm. I could have recorded in Miami where it's warm. I could have done this album anywhere I wanted to, but like I went back home and kind of braved the elements of a Toronto winter, which, you know, it's up there. You know, it's north. Anything north, that far north, the snow's got to be ridiculous. It's got to be freezing cold.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, it was something about that, you know, made him, you know, capture a different kind of sound and a kind of feeling. But it's also important to say during this album, he said he was listening to a lot of Stevie Wonder, Alabama Shakes.
Yeah.
So he's not going to make a rapidy rap album
Yeah.
listening to Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, this was definitely his biggest, I think, singing album. I mean, I haven't gone back to the oldest stuff recently enough to like compare side by side, but yeah, this was.
And I agree. I felt like this was more singy than it's ever been. And Juan, you even said it too. You're like, you know, even on the records that he raps, he's singing.
Still sings.
Yeah.
The last thing I would call this album is, because you mentioned like conceptually, like there's nothing new on that. To me, like you just said, he's still rapping about his ex-girlfriends. He's still kind of singing and rapping
Still
about the same
reminiscent, right.
stuff. Like it's the same old Drake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have a problem because you know the formula's working. Why are you gonna?
Why break it?
You know what I'm saying? But when artists venture out and try different things, I have respect because it's not he's proving it. That shit isn't easy, and it's not appealing, obviously, because he didn't do it and he hasn't done it yet. So I just want conceptually, like I just think it's just not lazy, but there's nothing. The bar wasn't raised on a production level or on a lyrical level. But like Zach, you said, like if you were expecting that, you weren't gonna get it.
Yeah, I don't think I had expectations really for Beyonce, Rihanna, or this album. I was just excited to hear them.
Right.
Kanye, I had some expectations, but I feel like I went into all these 4 big albums this year with just like, bring whatever it is,
But
and
it's funny because
that's-
you expect Kanye because every body of work is different, and
Right. He's very
and he
experimental.
ventures out and is very experimental. So
Right.
you have that expectation because the body of work behind it. You're like, each one sounds different. Each one has a new theme, a new
Right.
sound. So
Right.
you have that expectation. With everyone you just mentioned, everything sounds the same. So
Well, what I like here too, and what we're not saying is like the 2 albums he did in 2015 were very different, and they were different directions. Like if you're reading this too late was pretty surprising and
Right.
pretty different, and then he made it like an album with Future in Atlanta, and that doesn't sound like anything he's made. And now he did
right.
something which is like, if you really like somebody and you really like their early stuff, you kind of always want them to go back to it, even though you
Right.
want them to grow. And he just did that. Like this, I already said Take Care is my favorite by far, and this reminds me of it. Like from the way it starts to the
Right.
way that it just all kind of has a vibe to it, and it just flows, and like then all of a sudden a song like Grammys will like pop out and hit you the way like
Right.
Underground Kings did, or like Make Me Proud. But yeah, it just has a whole atmosphere to it.
Right. I mean, and you also it's definitely managing your expectations, in terms of what you're looking for, but at the same time, like there has to be a balance, in our expectations as listeners, to where like we can't expect these artists to deliver what we want. We have to understand that they are who they are, and a lot of times people are chastised for experimenting and going too left and not alienating their fan base. And then sometimes artists are chastised for being predictable and always doing kind of the same thing. So
that's
you know-
that's always up to the what's the saying, the eye of the beholder. Like
man.
if you go away from what people like and you're a fan, you could say, hey, I don't like that shit at all.
Right.
But I respect you for trying it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's we're like in an era where people are so entitled. We're like, why you didn't make the record that I wanted you to make? And
Right.
and then you got that side, and you got the side of like, oh, like, you know what, this Drake record wasn't that great. And then a person who loved it's like, oh, you're just a hater. Like, I'm a hater because the
My
most
opinion,
subjective
right.
thing in the world, music, I don't think is good. I'm a hater
Right.
because that drives me insane. I was talking about it with Beyonce, like.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if I don't like Beyonce, that's just my opinion. But then and even like journalistic websites are like, oh, here's a collection of tweets and the reactions from the internet for this album. And of course, you have your haters, and it's like somebody like, yeah, I wasn't digging this album. It's like, why are you labeling a person a hater because they didn't like
Right.
a piece of music?
Yeah, and this doesn't have to be for everybody. I mean,
Exactly.
Drake kind of
Doesn't.
got he's kind of gotten to the size where people might imagine he would make an album
Right.
that everybody can agree on, like Dark Twisted Fantasy or something, and it's just like, no.
Yeah,
Just
no.
like Kanye, too. It's like Kanye was, the biggest guy in the world, but he made Yeezus because he's still Kanye, and he doesn't need to make an album for everybody.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yo, let's to sum this up. Common said it best. If I don't like it, I don't like it. That don't mean that I'm hating.
Yeah.
Period.
It's simple. But that's like the climate we live in, and it drives me
Hot, cold.
it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Well, this is a good talk.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're gonna talk about this on Pop Chat Friday too. So I'm gonna be on there with Bianca Gracie on Jason Lipshutt's show. And we're gonna be
Nice.
talking about it. So.
I'm gonna shout you out because I remember when he dropped those 3 initial songs, and you were the one who suspected that he was gonna take Jay.
I said he was clowning Jay
Yeah,
and Kanye, and he
you
clowned him ultimate to
and
the
you
next
were
level by
right.
taking him off.
You were right.
And he said he didn't even want Jay on the song. He said Jay had just been hanging out. He said I wanted a Kanye verse, and Jay was hanging out with him, and Jay put a little on there.
He said that.
Yeah.
Where did he say that?
On the Zane Lowe interview.
Zane Lowe, bro. That's a great interview,
Yeah.
man.
There's a
Shout out to
video.
Zane
There's a
Lowe.
video
Damn.
of it up now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Joe Budden thing that we were watching before we
Yes.
listened to that was, I love when he gets so
Passionate.
passionate about shit.
I liked one more thing too, which is like on Dirty Sprite 2, it was a big deal that Drake was the only featured rapper on there, and Future is the only living featured rapper on here. You know, he has that, you know, quote unquote Pimp C verse. It's like 4 bars, but so it's cool. You kind of return the favor. All right.
All right.
I'd love to keep talking about it all day, but we got to talk about other stuff.
We got other things to talk about. So let us know how you feel, though, about views.
Please do.
Hit us up. The hashtag is back of the class. Let us know.
And if you don't like what we're saying, we're not going to call you a hater. At least I'm not.
We want to have a good dialogue. It'll probably be a while before there's this big of an album out again.
Very true. All right, man. Game of Thrones.
Ooh. Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
Spoiler
Switch it
heavy
off right now if
now.
you haven't heard, because we're going to pretty much talk about one thing, which is...
Jon Snow is alive.
Or is he?
Yo, my man woke up from the dead, bro.
I don't think he's going to just fall back down and be
Lazarus.
dead again.
Yeah.
He's back.
I mean,
It was a little underwhelming, though.
it was, but it was a slow burn. Like, that whole scene of her doing all her stuff
Yeah.
Right.
and all her, you know, I was thinking, it just, I don't know why, it reminded me of the Child's Play movies when Chucky's trying to put his soul into the little kid. And she's like sawing all this stuff and in tongues.
It kind of felt like many scenes you've seen of people coming back.
Yeah.
I'm happy he's back. I
Yeah.
think it's cool that it worked.
It was
I
definitely a
did-
slow burn though. Like that scene was like, I was like, all right, come on. You
Right.
don't have to look at him for the fourth
And we
time.
knew,
Like,
Yeah.
we knew he was coming back. I said that last week. Like, yo, he's gonna come back. I said a White Walker, but I mean, obviously he's still back alive. I mean,
he's still white.
yo, Jon Snow is a white boy, bro. Especially wearing all black. To be that pale wearing all black up there.
He
in the
looks
snow.
like a G though when he has all his gear on from the Night's Watch. So,
Word.
but yeah, I mean, I think everybody.
And the wildlings are back too.
Yeah, that was
Yo, it's
cool.
about to go
Yo, that
down.
dude is in a commercial. The Wildling Commander, the redhead dude, the red
Tormund,
beard.
yeah.
He's like in like some random like gum commercial.
Yo, it is. That's right. I did see that.
I think it's gum. I
commercial.
could be wrong. If I
He's
am,
got like a
just
blue
let me
suit
know.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
know
like him, and
exactly.
he has the beard. It's like,
Yep.
yo, you're in full facial and
Right.
hair Game of Thrones, but you're like in some random commercial.
Yeah.
I saw somebody being. Oh no, actually, I was gonna say I saw somebody being like so much for the door, like they just busted in, but
Oh, yeah.
I remembered they led with the giant. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was great too. Yeah, that was dude. They're not wasting any time. They're like they're progressing these
Yeah.
storylines
So
like,
fast and just knocking people off, like Roose Bolton. Ramsey just killed his dad there.
yo, Ramsey.
King of Dorne
he
killed
is,
last
yo.
week. Yeah,
I said that to my wife when we were watching. I was like, now we have a new dude to hate.
yeah.
We have a
And
new
he's making Joffrey look like
dude.
nothing close.
Yeah, Joffrey looks like a little spoiled child next to this ruthless dude right here, man.
Yeah. So that scene with Jon Snow was long. It seemed like many scenes where people come back. But I mean, maybe there's something to it where, you know, it was probably purposeful that each person kind of waited for him to come back, and like Davos at the end. And then it was only him and his wolf ghost there at the end. So maybe, you know, maybe he's going to like sneak out and nobody's going to know he was alive, or who knows what's.
I don't know, man.
Maybe
I
there's
think-
something to
I
it.
think that the traitors in the Night's Watch are going to see my man Jon Snow.
They gotta
have
get
to. They
got.
have to.
And they're
Yo,
they're going to see him. They're going to see a ghost
Yeah.
in front of them, and
They're
they
just
got to
gonna
get
die.
served.
yo, how dope was that? The way that giant killed that dude who hit him with the arrow.
Oh my god, it was awesome.
So
Or
good.
the way that zombie Kingsguard guy just smashed that guy
Yo,
off
the
the
dude
wall.
was peeing and turned around, boom, and walked
Oh
away. Oh,
my
that was
God,
brilliant, man.
Brutal.
Yeah.
But
That
yeah,
was great. This was a great 2 episodes.
yeah, I'm loving this
so far,
season.
yeah, they're. I love it because I hate filler episodes in my TV.
Yeah.
I hate where it's like, I know where you're going. Why are you taking the? I mean, I get it. You have to fill 52 minutes of
Right.
television, but
an hour, full hour.
oh yeah, it's HBO, so
Yeah.
it's a full hour. So like, I'm just glad they're, you know,
Streamlining.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man, they're tying up some loose ends too. It's really good. That even that scene, that flashback scene of the kid going back in time and seeing his
Yeah.
father.
Yeah,
and
that's
his
what I had
aunts and-
mentioned. That brand stuff is going to be crazy, and that was just a glimpse. Because
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think it's too much spoil to just say he can do that. Like he can
Right.
just go and see other stuff
That's crazy.
that has happened, and
Right.
there's like big implications.
And we
to
found
it,
out
so-
Hoarder used to talk.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
And his name is what, Leonard or something?
Willis. They
Willis,
were calling
there
him,
you
yeah.
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
Yo,
Man.
you know he's a DJ.
Shut up.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
dead ass. Yeah.
His name's Christian Nairn, and he's like a EDM.
He's like a
DJ,
he's
dude.
like
He
a
goes
house
and-
EDM DJ.
And sometimes he makes like a Game of Thrones theme to it.
Like
That's
his
hot. I would
last
go see
his
that.
last tour in like clubs in Europe was called like Tour of Thrones or some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be butchering it, but yeah, I read about it and I was like, that's crazy. That's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
man.
would make sense that the guy who can't talk in Game of Thrones is like the sickest DJ. Like, even I mean, if he played up the character, like you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
true.
Like,
You know who's pissing me off? The Sparrow King.
Oh God, yeah, that was freaky, man. Because
I was waiting for Jamie to just like
I don't
rip on him, but those
want
dudes
there
is-
to be a whole other army that can just come in and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
He made it sound pretty convincing there.
Yeah, and Tyrion, he has such a good. Oh man, my favorite line was when they're like, "How do you know it?" He's like, "That's what I do. I drink and I know things." I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
"Yes,
Yeah,
that was
definitely.
yo,
I love
Hey.
that moment with Tyrion and the dragons too. That was pretty special. That
Yeah,
he
that
was,
was
he was
good.
it was like emotional. You
Yeah.
know, he was like, I wanted to. The way magic is so rare in Game of Thrones and stuff like the dragons that it's cool that it actually lands on the people in a real way. You know, they're not just like, all right, cool, let's keep going. It's like
Yeah. The one thing I
gotta reckon
laughed
with
at, and this is like 100% nitpicking, you know, when he like unchains the dragons, like the first one, like the dragon's like, you know, what the fuck, and then he unchains them, and then the other one just goes, "Now do me," and then he just
Right.
turns his head on. I was like, "Oh, like
no,
that."
no. My beef was prior to that. The scene before that with them was Tyrion asking if the dragons were familiar with the one girl because they know they're friends. The dragons ain't never seen Tyrion before, and now all of a sudden you're gonna be the
know.
one
Yeah.
walking down into
I
the.
know.
That to me, I was like, I could see if she was the one
Yeah.
who took that walk. I mean, it's better visually that he did,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just the story was like, I don't know. But whatever.
I'm ready
It's
for
Game
those
of Thrones.
motherfuckers to get out.
Yo,
Yeah.
and go find a mother.
Get
think-
out.
I'm just
she
waiting-
needs
yeah,
to.
I'm
That
waiting
would-
for the day where the dragons just finally get to King's Landing and just fucking
Yeah.
let it rip.
Yeah, all right.
Let
Yeah.
it
So-
rip.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll probably be talking about Game of Thrones a lot, but in case
Oh,
we
yeah.
don't for a
Yes.
little bit, I just want to say that I started rewatching it this week from the beginning because my wife
Wow.
has
From
not
season
watched
one?
it. Yeah, my wife has not watched it, and I had shown her a couple scenes. Like I showed her the scene where Daenerys pretends she's selling her dragons, and then she just has them torch the guy, and then they just kind of go when she first gets the Unsullied. Because I was just like, she'll
Right.
think this is cool. And then toward the end of last season, with all those insane episodes, like when she's flying Drogon in the arena and the battle of Hardhome with the White Walkers, she
Right.
watched those with me, and then watched this premiere, and then we were maybe gonna watch the second episode, and she's like, I was thinking about watching from the beginning. I was like, let's do it.
Let's
And it's
do
been
this.
so good.
Yeah?
Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
I read the books like in tandem with reading. Like I would read the book and then watch the season. And it's just really it's cool to go back with the perspective and kind of know where everything is now after 5 seasons. And
I'm
like,
kinda glad I
even
didn't
picking
read
up
the
on new
book.
stuff. Yeah, if you
Because like that was my experience with Walking Dead. Is I read the whole first the first 50 issues, like the whole first and second condemnum, whatever they call it,
Yeah.
when they put everything together.
Man.
And I was watching it and enjoying it, but once you have that source material in your head, you can't help but to compare it to. So you're watching the show and you're like, okay, they're not gonna do something as predictable as this because it obviously happened in the book. It kind of jades you a little bit.
I think it works really well with Game of
Yeah.
Thrones because it's like like I knew Hodor had like a little bit of a history. Like I knew
Oh,
about
okay.
that, so it's cool to see it. And they work really well together. But also, if you've seen the show, like I just would never recommend reading the books after because you already know all the twists that
Sure,
are going to
sure,
play
yeah.
out, and
Right.
like the plot and the characters are the biggest
Yeah.
things about it, and you know them all. But
See, that's the thing. Like Preacher's coming up on AMC.
oh,
And I've read the whole book. So again, I'm gonna watch it because it looks fucking great. But I'm gonna watch it with the source material and be like, all right, like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of good and bad at the same time.
Oh, we're definitely gonna talk about Preacher. That's
Oh,
one
dude,
of my
yeah.
favorite books ever. Space Yam.
Space Jam 2.
Space Yam
I'm not
dose.
happy about this.
It is confirmed that LeBron James will be in
Yeah.
Space Jam 2.
And this is like the third round of this information. Like
Yeah.
there's been 2 separate times over the years about it happening and with LeBron, which I mean
I think
guess
it's
it
more
makes
now
sense.
after he made his debut in Trainwreck. Where
Yeah.
now they're like, oh, maybe
Yeah.
he can. Even though his acting wasn't great,
Uh-huh.
but it was good enough where it was memorable and he made you laugh.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm very close to the stuff that I grew up on for
Yeah.
them doing it. And I know it's not a reboot; it's a sequel. But like, you know, the thing I keep thinking about, what other players in the NBA
I was thinking
are
that
they going to
same
use
thing.
to be like the new Monstars? Because
Mhm.
that's what I'm more interested in. But
because to their I forget, I don't know how to even say this. In the first Space Jam, the Monstars were like straight up NBA players that we thought could be villains,
yep.
or we thought just were perfect
And they fit,
alien
and they fit the
Monstars.
cartoon version of themselves like,
Exactly.
perfectly.
You had horrible Sean Bradley,
Yeah.
the worst
the little
Sixers
the
pick
little
of all
Muggsy,
time.
like
You had Muggsy, which was awesome. You had Charles Barkley, who was like a real life villain in the NBA. Like you had those great.
yeah, Pat.
Barkley was a villain.
Oh, Barkley was like one of the most hated
Yeah,
Wow.
dudes
Barkley
in the
and, like,
NBA.
I
Yeah.
must have missed that.
Oh, dude.
Oh, dude, he was like,
He
he
was
was
spit
a
on
beast,
fans. Like
though.
he was bad.
you get into
dude.
fights, you would throw elbows.
Yeah.
But if you watch like footage of him in the Sixers and like his early years,
Yeah.
and even in Phoenix, like dude, he was
He's a
fucking
monster.
animal, dude.
Okay.
Like
He's a monster.
rebounds, he'd
Yeah.
run, fast
The
breaks.
round mound of rebounds.
He'd dunk on people. Like
That was
he
his
could shoot
nickname.
threes when he needed. He was just.
He
People
was great.
sleep on him because now it's
Right.
just like, oh, Charles Barkley who says outrageous shit
Exactly.
on
Now
TNT,
he's the right.
and he's a funny guy. But
Nah.
like, dude, people sleep on how good he really
He was amazing, especially for a big guy, both heavy and like tall. He had a lot of attributes. But like, who are some Monstars now, man? Who are some NBA Monstars? I'm kind of
Let me tell you. I don't know about a single person.
I mean, first things first, you gotta have Kobe needs to play some part in this shit.
You think? See,
I
I
mean-
thought I was. My question was, why now, and why wasn't it Kobe? To begin
I mean, because
with?
it's too late for it to be Kobe.
But was Kobe just not the personality that LeBron is?
I
in
don't think
terms
it's
of
that.
an
I just
actor?
think it's just the timing.
Kobe's kind of
Kobe was busy winning chips. You know what I'm talking
Kobe
about?
kind of had a little more
good
of an
point.
edge, right, and a little more of a
Yeah.
there was that whole like rape
Colorado
thing,
thing, yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think LeBron is more of like the family friendly
Yeah, oh,
choice.
big time.
Probably.
Well, that and also like the period of when Kobe was on top, reboots and relaunches and
Yeah, that
sequels.
They weren't
It
the
wasn't a
bee's
thing
knees.
like it is
Right.
now. And
Yeah.
but you're 100% right. Like LeBron
Right.
is that household name.
He
I just feel
is.
like Kobe should have some, even of a small part, in the new
See, he
movie.
should Bill Murray it up and come in.
Oh,
at
Bill
the
Murray needs to
last
come back,
8
too.
seconds. No, Bill Murray definitely.
He needs to come
Yo,
back.
what about these new jerseys?
Oh, word.
Yo, the Toon Squad jerseys were all the rage.
Yeah.
Did they
the
make
dri-
him in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see him at festivals. Every music festival I've ever
Oh.
gone to, I've seen a.
This is gonna be
Toon
part.
Squad
This has to
jersey.
be part of a bigger thing because you have to reintroduce these Looney Tune characters to the generation of kids now.
That's what I'm worried about, man. Because
Because-
I do not want
Very
to see the
true.
2016 or
You don't wanna see
2017 or
Tweety
18
Bird.
version of Looney
Right.
Tunes.
Yeah.
I just like when they make like a Peanuts movie and whatever. When they bring these things back, I'm just like, oh, man, I just don't want to see what
Yep.
their version of that is today. Really,
That's my biggest.
So what
fear.
they're going to have to do is you're going to have to watch the first Space Jam
Mm-hmm.
and then watch the second one
Yeah.
because it is a sequel. So you got to know what the storyline is.
I
from
think
the
you'll probably
beginning.
be all right. I
Yeah.
don't think it's too involved.
I'm
Yeah.
saying for kids. Like my kids don't like to see part 2. They ain't seen part 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a tradition with us that before, like we're going to see Captain America Thursday night.
Yeah.
Wednesday we're going to watch the other,
Yeah.
the whatever was previous. So it might be Captain America, or it might be whatever was the last Marvel
Yeah.
movie that we just to kind of, you know what I mean, go into it with
Sure,
some kind of
yeah.
knowledge. How long ago was the first Space Jam?
Like
Was it
97,
97 maybe?
97.
I don't
But here's the thing, right?
That's
Space
10
Jam
years,
was a
20
big
years
deal. Number one, because Michael Jordan was the biggest athlete on the planet. Not basketball player, athlete on the planet. Household
Agreed.
name. You could make the argument that LeBron is that person right now,
Yes, you
right?
can.
But the thing that made Space Jam so good was that we grew up on Looney Tunes since we were children.
Yeah.
We watched it when
Very
we were
true.
younger, 5 years old, 6 years old. Like we grew up on it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
big time.
These kids now are not growing up on. It's
Right.
sad they're
It
not
ain't
growing
right.
up on Looney Tunes. They're
Yeah.
just not.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a tall order for you to make Space Jam 2 with these old school Looney Tunes characters with these new crop of kids now because they
that.
don't have that experience like we did. We grew up on it.
And
That's gonna be their biggest hurdle.
yeah.
Agreed.
But
But
and if they just create new character, like that
Oh
could
no,
be,
they'll have to.
Yeah.
no, they're gonna have the same.
But so we kind of burned up most of our time here. But LeBron in Trainwreck, I liked him a lot. Did you
he
guys
was-
not?
I know. I didn't have a problem with it.
I liked him, but I did feel like it was LeBron James playing a character. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like he was an actor.
I thought he did a great job, but I was really frustrated that they did the like, oh, it's so funny that this big black man is sensitive.
Exactly.
That's
Well,
like we've
also,
seen
yeah.
that a million times.
Well,
and
also
it's-
that, and it felt like the lines they wrote for him were like, "Hey, what's the most outrageous shit you can think of
Yeah.
that LeBron would never say?
Right.
Let's write that and have him say." I felt that that was kind of what was going on there, but he did a great job.
he showed
delivering.
he was comfortable in front of the camera, and now this time he'll be
Yeah.
able to be probably himself. in
Yeah,
Space
there was
Jam
parts
2,
where you
and-
definitely saw like, "Oh, you're not an actor."
right.
But then there was times where you're just like,
that
"Wow,
scares
like
me.
that was really that was a good delivery of that joke of that line." So, I mean, he's definitely gonna need more work if he's gonna carry the movie by himself.
And let's also remember that Michael Jordan wasn't the best actor.
No.
either.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to go back and reassess.
Yeah, no,
how
he
Michael
wasn't.
Jordan-
He
Jordan
wasn't.
wasn't that great of an actor.
We gotta inform people if they don't know that the Bugs Bunny rap was written by Jay-Z. Did you guys know that?
I definitely did not know that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to that. Picture it's 100%
I
just
got
written
a
by
picture-
Jay-Z.
I got
Yeah.
a picture of
Speaking
Jay-Z
of
rapping
that,
You bugging.
That Space Jam soundtrack,
You
dog.
never lie.
They gotta live up to that.
Yeah.
That was an amazing.
They'll do it. They'll
soundtrack.
do it.
'Cause
Was
those-
that not? Was that a Michael Jordan Hidden Beach release? Was it his label that did Space Jam?
I don't know.
Michael
It might have been.
label.
It's
Yeah, he
probably,
had a music label.
It had to
Jill
have been.
Scott
Nah,
was
you
on
know
his
what? It
label,
had to have
bunch
been
of-
Warner because it's Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
But like Chris Rock's Basketball Jones, and they had all some of the
Yeah.
jock jams in there.
Word. And come on, Slam.
Slam.
At least we can look
Come on,
forward to
pump
that.
it up.
That
Yeah,
will work
like-
out.
Yeah.
And to put the cap on the movies and TVs, Captain America, like Esteban mentioned, comes out
Yes.
tonight because you listen
If
to
you
this
listen
on
to this, yeah,
Thursday.
Tonight, Yep.
I'm over the moon excited. I've listened to podcast after podcast of people who've seen screenings. Like I listened to Fat Man on Batman, which is awesome. It's Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin, who's like written comics and written shows and scripts and all that. He saw it, and the stuff he had to say, I was just like, dude, I cannot get more excited.
You
Because
said
like,
you don't like your view to be polluted,
what do you mean?
like beforehand.
Oh,
We were talking
well-
about House of Cards.
What do you
Well,
mean?
he also knows the whole storyline already. so
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
already
because I read
put-
I read the the books.
Okay, there you
But
go.
like the way, because like Kevin Smith is asking him like, all right, just sum it up in like like 5 words or whatever, and he's like, this is the movie that does everything you've ever wanted to see in a comic book movie. And I
Oh,
was like,
man.
oh, cool, crap. And
crap.
my two favorite superheroes are Batman and Spider-Man. And after Spider-Man being in that trailer, like, and seeing I like the suit, I dug the eyes, I like that it's a kid and not a
Yeah.
fucking 30-year-old pretending to be
Right.
a kid.
Yes.
So that I'm all in. I'm going. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to talk to anybody. We were supposed to like talk to either Chadwick
Black
or
Panther.
Paul Bettany. Yeah, the Vision. But unfortunately, that stuff
Right.
didn't go through. But I'm going Saturday morning, and I'm taking my kid, and
Cool, man.
I'm so pumped.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, I hadn't until Deadpool been pulled to the theater for Marvel since Iron Man 2. And the only one since Iron Man 2 that I had watched was the Avengers, like at home, like not even fully attentive.
You didn't watch Avengers 2?
Nope.
You should watch it before
but
you watch
this-
Civil War.
There's no chance I'm gonna watch that. I might go to see. I'm leaning toward going to see this though, because I've just it's what happened with Iron Man 2 is I'm just getting like swept up in the hype. Like I want to see it. It looks good.
But it's
So wait,
it's a
wait.
compelling like the art. The reason why they're at odds, the way it's the concept, the way it's done, executed, and the fundamental difference makes a lot of sense.
I've seen a million movies where they want superheroes to be fucking regulated and to not,
yeah. But it's a legit it's a
See,
legit
here's my thing.
polarizing point of view.
We
And
got-
I want to end on this because we have to keep this all the way moving. Zach saw Keanu.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
won't see.
I saw 3 movies last week. It was crazy.
Damn,
And
what's-
Keanu was one of them.
Keanu was great.
I actually want to see
Hands
Keanu
down.
because it looks funny.
It was great.
Right.
Well, I text you guys Method Man with a kitten.
And he has like a
Still
big part,
won't
right?
do it.
Does he have a big part?
Yeah, he's in it quite a bit.
Yeah, because I saw like behind the scenes and like he was like,
I loved it.
yeah.
I loved it.
What else did you see?
Fucking Ratchet and Clank, which sucked.
Did it really?
It was one of those times where it's just like I want to go to the movies with the kid, and
Right.
I had just seen The Jungle Book, and she had seen it too, and we should have just seen The Jungle Book again. Ratchet and Clank sucked.
That sucks. Well,
And it was also like I saw The Jungle Book, which was amazing. I saw Keanu, which I loved, and then I saw this other movie, and it was like double disappointing because of that. Did we want to do Team Captain or Team Iron Man?
oh,
We got to do it quick.
I'm Team Cap all day, every day,
Why?
because I love Captain America, and I do believe that they're helping everyone. I mean, you can't make some omelets without breaking some eggs. You know what I'm talking about?
Listen. I hear that loud and clear. How about you?
I mean, just looking at this poster, I guess Iron Man, because Iron Man's cool, and also they have Black Panther, and I really want Black
Iron Man's
Panther
cool.
to be great.
Oh no, dude! I've seen some scenes with him, and
Yeah,
Right.
They
I
do
want him to
him-
be great, and I mean, I saw Scarlet Witch on Captain's team, and I didn't, like I said, didn't see Avengers: Age of Ultron, but I love that actress, and I assume that she's great.
oh my-
Elizabeth
dude,
Olsen.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
I love that woman. Very
Esteban?
talented, very
I
beautiful.
am team neutral, yo.
Uh-oh.
On one side,
Cop
I
out.
got
You'll
Black,
pick a side when you start watching.
Black Panther, and on the other side, I got Falcon. So, I mean, why I got to choose?
You think they'll break away and be like, just like, fuck all these white guys, let's go.
That's what I'm hoping.
You know, it's always white and black. There's
Well,
no
is
one
it-
ever
is it-
notices that there's no Hispanic guy on either side
Oh, people are noticing
or woman.
it. Yeah.
Are they really?
Well,
I haven't
you-
seen a
did you-
dialogue of
well,
people
did
bringing it
you
up.
see this week? It's not about Hispanic people, but about Asian actors because of, I mean, it's this campaign
yeah,
going
the-
called
the-
Whitewashed Out.
Yeah,
'cause
like Doctor
it's
Strange, like the
specifically with regards to
the ancient one. It's supposed to be an Asian character. and
Yeah,
it's
I
a
never
white woman.
understood that when I watched that trailer too. I'm like, how does this work?
She's supposed to be a gender ambiguous character, where like
Right.
you don't know, like you know Constantine. You see Constantine?
yeah, but gender and ethnicity. are
Yeah,
two
no,
different things.
it doesn't make any like. There's people who make compelling
so yeah,
arguments
it's,
for
it's
and
Tilda
against.
Swinton and
Yeah.
in Doctor Strange
And she's awesome, and I love her as an actress.
And before that, it was they're making this. What is it? Ghost in the Shell, which is an
Yeah,
anime, and
dude,
they put Scarlett Johansson in the lead. You know, it's an Asian character. So
Right.
So the
I
dialogues are
forget what
popping
movie-
I mean, they are,
it's-
but
There-
always,
yeah, there's
it's always
gotta
the
be
same
more.
argument. So I'm just like, hey man, you know, there's not a Hispanic superhero in neither one of these.
Is
groups.
there like a
Right.
hero or an actor that you want to see? in the
play?
mix? Like an actor who you just want to see in one
Miles
of these Marvel
Morales is
movies, or
coming,
like
though.
or like a
I
hero?
wish they would have done Miles Morales. That's not coming. That home,
It's not coming. I thought it was.
it was. They were debating it, but it's gonna.
Wasn't
be,
Childish Gambino supposed to play?
No,
Miles?
he was lobbying for it
that was-
hard.
Oh. Okay.
But no, Miles Morales isn't happening, unfortunately.
Womp womp.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I loved Michael Pena in
I was thinking
Ant-Man.
him too,
He
yeah.
was, he was
Word.
awesome, and he's coming up as like one of the faces of like Hispanic, you
Yep,
know,
yep.
acting.
Yeah, he is. he was
Um,
great in Ant-Man.
Yeah, and he's like on Bud Light commercial, and like he played Cesar Chavez. Like
Right.
he's doing an awesome job. But yeah, like it's that the whitewashing thing. That's for another day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just hey man,
Definitely.
it's not just black and white, baby.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
But wait, isn't Don
Latinos up in
Cheadle
here.
the War Machine? Isn't he on
Yeah,
Iron
he's
Man
in,
side?
He's in Iron Man side. Yeah.
He is, yeah.
Well, you can tell
Cheadle's
me that he's
also
like
one of my
20%
favorite-
Spanish up. Oh,
one of
okay.
my
I thought you were going
favorite
somewhere.
actors.
No, I was bringing it back because he thought it was just Panther on
No,
one
it's
side.
not that.
and
It's
the-
just them, but those two are my favorite. I'm not a big War Machine fan, but I
Mm-hmm.
am a big Falcon fan, and I am a big Black Panther fan. So, and by big fan, I mean they got cool powers and uniforms because I don't know anything about their stories whatsoever. But yeah, so
next week, I'm guessing we'll break it down.
Yeah,
or-
we'll break it down.
we'll break it
more,
down even iller.
and I'll be
Okay.
giddy.
Now, what are you listening to this weekend?
Drake.
Zach, you always have. That's it. Views.
I mean, look, Hamilton got 16 Tony Award noms. It's the most ever, and I still love Hamilton. And now
Do you
it's
think
like
they'll
huge
sweep?
in my family. Yeah, probably.
Oh, they're gonna be the
I
Ric
mean-
Flair of Tony Awards.
Woo!
Yeah, 16 times.
16 times.
So it's gonna be views and the continuing Hamilton soundtracking our family life.
Nice.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna be listening to the new Ritz album that comes out this Friday. I interviewed him last week. I've been a fan since the first time I interviewed him like 2 years ago.
Word.
If you don't know, he's from Strange Music. White dude from Georgia who's super dope, very lyrical, very fast-paced rapping, but you understand every word he says.
Crystal
and
clear.
Crystal clear, and there's a lot of substance to what he says. If you've never heard them, go check them out.
Right.
We have an interview posting today, tomorrow for the album. Take a look at that.
Yeah,
And I'll be listening to that and hopefully get an early copy of Uncharted 4. Because I've been waiting for Uncharted 4 for the longest.
Video gaming.
And that's the last one in the series, so I'm
right.
going to be all up in that.
Word. Listen, man. Konnichiwa. Skepta's album.
I thought you were just saying bye to
Skepta.
us.
No, man. Skepta's album comes out Friday. And I might have mentioned it on this podcast before, but, like, I've been way more into, like, the grime scene and the artists that are emerging from that sound these past couple years. So Skepta's, like, one of the bigger ones.
How are you
That's-
going to describe grime if people don't know what it is? and
British
by the way,
rap.
konnichiwa means bye, not hello. Sorry.
Um,
Hello, not bye.
I can't. I mean, this grime literally is like a hip hop Olympic event, right? So if just think, follow me right now. If hip hop was in an Olympic, like if hip hop's was the Olympics, then like the fastest race would be on some grime beat, like 130 some beats per minute,
'Kay.
like just straight vicious rhymes, like as fast as you can kind of like spit them out of your mouth.
Okay.
With
type
an
of
English
deal.
accent.
So those guys got to be like Olympic athletes,
Yo,
you're saying.
they are like the breath control is amazing. Like they gotta be like it's the beats are real like industrial sounding, but they're super duper fast and grimy and gross.
Cool.
And lyrically, you just gotta come with it, and it sounds a lot like an early birth of hip hop somewhere else. Like the lyrics aren't very lyrical all the time, like it was in the beginning of hip hop. It kind of be rap and cat and bap and lap, whatever.
Yeah.
But like it's just that whole style and aggression, and they have such a love for that art form and that culture of hip hop. So like you kind of is infectious. Like they love it. I love that they love it, and I'm starting to grow an appreciation for it. And especially like when a Lady Leisha comes out, when like JME and Gigs and like these rappers
Gigs in it.
come out, like the music is so entertaining to me.
Yeah, I got to start checking some more out.
Skepta is like the dude.
I said guys, but I think this one who I found recently, her name's Ms. Banks. I think she's a little grimy. I sent you guys
she's
that.
a grime MC. Yeah, Ms.
and,
Banks.
yeah, I got her mixtape. It's
She
great.
bodied
30 hours.
Fire in the Booth.
Yeah, did 30 hours of Kanye beat on there, and it was
Dude,
Oh my God.
yeah. So
All right.
that's
Hit,
it.
hit,
Konnichiwa.
no, sayonara.
Oh, sayonara's goodbye. Yeah,
Damn.
Konnichiwa's hello.
But hit Fuse TV, we have so much Drake stuff. We have the best
Right.
lyrics. We got 36 lyrics. We have a track-by-track breakdown. We have all the
man.
songs he sampled, the collaborators. We got a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, we got some Mega Ran stuff up there. We got some dope Ritz stuff is up there. There's a lot of good content.
Our site is just
just the
fucking.
truth.
It's just the best.
Yeah.
You
Just
never lie.
come by.
Sayonara.
Now, thanks so
There you
much for tuning in to the Back of the Class podcast. We will check you guys next week.
Yes.
Later.
Peace.